Elle, it wasn't that bad.
Friends don't lie.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 things you missed in Stranger Things, Season 4, Part 1.
Always the babysitter. Always the goddamn babysitter.
For this list, we're looking at Easter eggs, references, and callbacks in this fourth installment of the Netflix series. If you're not caught up yet, beware of spoilers ahead. Did you catch any of these? Let us know in the comments. Number 10. A nightmarish season. The long-awaited fourth season of the Netflix hit went from a fun sci-fi adventure to a straight-up horror show, and we love it. We got major A Nightmare on Elm Street vibes from the trailers, but new antagonist Vecna is more Freddy Krueger than Mind Flayer.
Belong here with me.
You're not really here.
Oh, but I am. Max.
In a trailer breakdown for IGN, the Duffer Brothers discussed their love of classic 80s horror villains, so it's no surprise that the season feels like an homage to the Dream Demon. The glowing red and foggy Upside Down even resembles Freddy's boiler room, as noted by Dustin.
Maybe you infiltrated his mind. He invaded your mind, right? Is it that big of a leap to suggest you somehow wound up in his? Like Freddy Krueger's boiler room.
Freddy Krueger?
He's a super burned up dude with razors for fingers, and he kills you in your dreams.
Dustin, seriously?
And instead of a shrieking Demogorgon, we hear Vecna verbally taunting his teenage victims, stalking them in the nightmare fantasies.
I see you've been looking for me, Nancy. You were so close to the truth.
Other references do pop up, like the Freddy cutout in Family Video. Number 9. Elle's new look. When we left off last season, Eleven was headed to California with the Byers family for a fresh start. The teen's personal style is still evolving, and in her new home of Lenora Hills, she clearly takes inspiration from her pseudo-mom Joyce.
Dear Mike, today is day 185. Feels more like 10 years. Joyce says time is funny like that.
The brown hair with bangs and the effortlessly cool tee and flannel combo with jeans looks are nearly identical.
Some exciting news. Joyce got an amazing new job. She gets to work at home.
Elle, now called Jane Hopper by the outside world, does experiment with some uber 80s threads, but she now seems most comfortable in her Joyce-esque attire.
Bitchin', right?
Yeah, bitchin'.
No matter what her outfit is, she still wears the blue bracelet from Hopper.
We are all time travelers if you think about it.
Number 8. The Hellfire Club. Other than being a rad name, the Hellfire Club holds some historical significance. In the 18th century, this was a common name for exclusive clubs attended by the wealthy elite, like gentlemen's clubs or high society figures wishing to keep their activities secret.
Means you boys, the future of Hellfire.
Mike and Dustin's new D&D crew of outcasts is more likely inspired by the mutant group in the X-Men comics. We already know Dustin's a big X-Men fan, and Eleven's story has been likened to Jean Grey in the Dark Phoenix saga.
Get back here! I'm gonna kill you!
I'll take your X-Men 134!
Plus, Dustin's creation dubbed Cerebro after Professor X's device used to amplify his psychic abilities comes in handy again this season.
We tapped into the Hawkins PD dispatch with our Cerebro, and they're definitely looking for you.
Number 7. Eddie Munson. One of the newest and coolest characters on Stranger Things this season is Hellfire Club leader Eddie Munson. He's a metalhead who resembles a young Eddie Van Halen, Ozzy Osbourne, and other rockers of the time.
Sorry I'm late, sweetheart. You're beautiful.
But we wonder if it's a coincidence that his name sounds an awful lot like Eddie Munster. When he first appears on screen, we hear I Was a Teenage Werewolf by the Cramps.
Dungeons and Dragons. At first regarded as a harmless game of make-believe, now has both parents and psychologists concerned.
We're not saying he's a werewolf, but his style and hobbies surely made the people of Hawkins uncomfortable, especially during the satanic panic of the 1980s. Whatever the inspiration behind his name, we love the kind-hearted Hellion and look forward to more of him in the future.
You know, you're not what I thought you'd be like.
Mean and scary? Yeah.
Number 6. Dustin quotes Han Solo. Stranger Things loves a Star Wars reference, but did you catch one of Han Solo's iconic quotes? During the D&D game, Dustin says to his fellow Hellfire Club members, "Never tell me the odds."
Chances of success are 20 to 1. Never tell me the odds.
This line was said by the hero in 1980's The Empire Strikes Back.
Sir, the possibility of successfully navigating an asteroid field is approximately 3,720 to 1.
Never tell me the odds.
And in the third episode of Season 4, we catch a glimpse of Will and Jonathan watching Ewoks, ABC's animated series based on the furry creatures from the Star Wars universe. The show ran from 1985 to 86, and since the season is set in spring 1986, it definitely would have been a favorite among the characters. Number 5. The Cunninghams. Another new addition to the show was Chrissy Cunningham, a popular cheerleader who is unfortunately a victim of Vecna. It's implied that she's been haunted by the otherworldly creature for some time, while struggling with her body image spurred on by her mother.
Chrissy? Did you hear me? Open the goddamn door, Chrissy! Open the door, Chrissy, or I'm gonna gut you like the fat pig that you are!
In her confrontation with Vecna, he creates twisted versions of her parents that echo the look of the Deadites in the Evil Dead franchise. Her mother's voice becomes demonic, and she turns around to reveal a devilish grin and white glazed eyes, reminiscent of the trademark trickery of the Deadites taking over loved ones.
Huh? Just loosening this up for you, sweetheart. You're going to look
Absolutely beautiful.
Jonathan has had an Evil Dead poster on his wall for a while now, but this might be our first taste of true evil in Hawkins. Number 4. Music and Dreams. With all the A Nightmare on Elm Street connections, dreams are obviously a big theme this season. When Robin and Nancy go to visit Victor Creel at the mental institution, he tells them the story of what happened to his family, and he mentions hearing Ella Fitzgerald's Dream a Little Dream of Me.
At first I believed it was an angel. And I followed her, only to find myself in a nightmare far worse.
But before that, the doctor takes them through the music room, explaining how music can reach a special part of the brain.
We found that music has a particularly calming effect on the broken mind. The right song, particularly one which holds some personal meaning, can prove a salient stimulus.
On the chalkboard, we see dream-themed song titles like I'll See You in My Dreams and Wrap Your Troubles in Dreams. Moonlight Serenade is another song listed. But the original title in 1935 was, wait for it, Now I Lay Me Down to Weep. As for Red Sails in the Sunset, we got nothing.
Anything? Nothing.
Number 3. Billy Hargrove's Headstone. At the beginning of this season, we find Max still feeling the sadness and guilt over her stepbrother's death. When she thinks she's Vecna's next victim, she writes letters to her friends, parents, and Billy.
If you can even hear this, I really hope that you can.
Max goes to read the letter at his grave, which we caught a glimpse of in the trailer. But there's a weird difference between shots.
Basically, ever since you left, everything's been a total disaster.
The trailer shows the headstone marked Billy Hargrove. In the series, it's been changed to read William Hargrove. We're not sure why this would have been changed, but it is an interesting discrepancy nonetheless.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, Billy.
Number 2. Vecna's Origin Story. Chapter 7 finally reveals how Vecna, aka Henry Creel, aka One, came to be.
I could not close off my mind and join in the madness. I could not pretend. And I realized I didn't have to.
As he tells his story to Eleven, a familiar tune plays in the background.
I could restore balance to a broken world. A predator. But for good.
It might ring a bell for anyone who's seen 2009's Watchmen. The same instrumental tracks, Pruitt Igoe and Prophecies, were featured in scenes recounting the origin of Dr. John Osterman, a nuclear physicist who got stuck in a test chamber that literally tore him apart.
I feel fear for the last time.
He progressively reformed his body as a blue godlike being, later dubbed Dr. Manhattan. While their beginnings are certainly different, the haunting music, some of the imagery, and the 1950s setting had us thinking back to the stylistic comic book film. Before we unveil our #1 pick, here are some honorable mentions. Cooler King Hopper. Enzo says the American is like Steve McQueen, who famously played a character frequently trying to break out of a German prison in The Great Escape.
You don't even seem nervous, American. I'm impressed. You're a cool cat. Like Steve McQueen, the Cooler King, yeah. Think so far. Of course not, because Cooler King went back to Cooler.
There's something in the water. Steve Harrington has a Jaws moment before he's pulled into the Upside Down. Jif Peanut Butter. More than one character shares a love of this tasty 1980s favorite.
Did you know peanut butter is banned in Motherland? I buy for $1.30 here, sell for $20 there.
Your mother must be very proud.
More Eggos for Elle. Her favorite breakfast appears a few times throughout the season.
Hey, Elle. I made you some Eggos, but they're getting kind of cold.
Another shout out to Phoebe Cates. Steve thinks Robin should give it a shot with her crush based on her rental history.
Vicky is definitely not the wrong girl.
We just don't know that, do we?
She returned fast times, paused at 53 minutes, 5 seconds. Do you know who pauses fast times at 53 minutes, 5 seconds? People who like boobies, ew, Robin.
Gross.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. #1. Michael Myers references. Way back in Season 2, Max went trick-or-treating with the boys wearing a Michael Myers costume.
You should have seen the look on your faces.
During Max's run-in with Vecna in Chapter 4, a broken headstone that looks to say Myers appears in the cemetery. It could actually say Ayers, but we think the former would be more fitting, don't you think? Eddie's uncle also tells Nancy about the infamous Victor Creel, a man arrested for seemingly killing his family and sent to Penhurst Asylum, which is the name of a real haunted hospital in Pennsylvania.
Like that, what's his name, the white mask, and kill the babysitters.
Michael Myers?
Yeah, Michael Myers. You ask me, Victor's like that. He's a real boogeyman.
With the recent murder of Chrissy Cunningham, Eddie's uncle thinks he could have broken out. He likens him to the killer from the Halloween franchise, which is ironic since Creel is played by another horror icon, Robert Englund.
Did I survive? No, I assure you, I am still very much in hell.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.